you started off as a stuntman.
Yeah.
And how did you transition to becoming a director? Because that's like, there's got to be a lot of barriers that are in the way.
Different time for sure. You know, before cell phones, before all that stuff. We started as a stunt guy before all the streamers. You know, I was working for this guy, Ernie Orsatti, way back in the day, a brilliant stunt coordinator, second unit director on television. And I was working on, I don't know if you remember the old show like Pretender with Michael T. Weiss.
Sure,
and
yeah.
stuff. He could be anything, that kind of thing. And I was doing a gig on that. I had just done a car hit. I think I was only like 24. I split my head open on the windshield. I was a mess. And then he comes to me as I'm holding the ice pack on my head. He's like, hey, they're having auditions for this sci-fi film in Burbank. You're like, you know, you're off. You can, if you hurry, you can make it. And I'm in jeans and a T-shirt, and I'm bleeding. And I'm like, all right, yeah, sure, I'll go make it. It's for that Keanu Reeves guy, you know, in Speed. It come out. I'm like, Keanu Reeves, I'll go see him, sure. So we go up there, and it was an audition for The Matrix. And, you know, at the time, you remember, back in the day, there weren't a lot of martial art movies at a big budget level. It was like Steven Seagal or Von Damme or, you know, Mark Dacascos, all those guys at the time. And martial arts, you know, they didn't do them in big budget films. It was considered low budget, you know, action porn kind of thing. And we get there, get to this big warehouse in Burbank, and you saw this guy really scruffy looking with a neck brace, you know, punch. And it's Keanu. He had just come out from neck surgery.
Oh,
and
Jesus.
Like 15 Hong Kong and Chinese stuntmen there, screaming and yelling. And I said, hey, I'm here for the audition. And I meet these two fellows that come over, and it's the Wachowskis at the time, now Lana and Lily. And they introduced themselves, and we're like, hey, you know, I'm Chad. I'm here for the. Okay, great. This is Yung Woo Ping, and I was like, oh, no one told it. And Yung Woo Ping we knew from was the big choreographer that started Jet Li and Jackie Chan.
Oh.
Did like Iron Monkey.
Oh, wow.
You know, Once Upon a Time in China and all that stuff. So it was Yung Woo Ping and his guys, and they're like, okay, you just follow this guy and this little guy named Tiger Chen. Fucking phenomenal. Guy could do triple flip, twist, just could do anything. A wushu champion. They just follow that guy. Just do what he does. And for the next hour, I tried, you know, being the tall white guy, trying to just keep up with him.
Can you do all that stuff?
God, no. God, I just did as much as I could until I fell down. But I was pretty flexible. I had a good gymnastic background, so I'd throw a backflip. I'd do the kicks. I'd do all the spin hook kicks, and you know we'd train with a lot of Taekwondo guys and stuff. So we were pretty good at all the kicking and punching and some of the acrobatics. But then it got to a level. He picks up a stick, and now it's you've seen the wushu guys.
Yeah,
like, they're going mental. And I'm like, oh boy, you know, at the end of an hour, you know, I'm in jeans and a T-shirt, still bleeding from a head wound.
Oh Jesus! Did you have a concussion?
Probably, yeah. I think so. Knowing now, looking back, like, yeah, it didn't seem too good. But I finished, drove home, thought, wow, I really screwed the pooch on that one. I never thought I'd hear from those guys again. And then, like a month later, I got called, hey, can you come back? An exact same audition again, exact same. And then got the call saying, hey, would you like to double Keanu Reeves on this sci-fi movie in Australia? And I was like, yeah, I got this other gig on TV. I think I'm going to have to pass. And the producer at the time was Barry Osborne, who went on to do all the Lord of the Rings. And he was like, yeah, he's kind of a little angry at me for saying no. And I thought, okay, if I fuck that up, I'll never work again. And then cut to 2 months later, it was in February, and he calls back and was like, hey, we had to push the shoot. Are you available now? I was like, yeah, actually I am. So I literally flew to Australia like 2 weeks later, got there, and within a day you realized, oh, this isn't a normal show. You saw the rehearsals, you saw some of the sets, you saw some of the footage, and it was the fucking Matrix.
Oh, wow.
So that's how we got in, or how I got in with the Wachowskis, and I spent the next 8.5 years with them through all the Matrix sequels and some of their other shows, and with James O'Teague doing V for Vendetta. I just lived in the Wachowski world, and that's probably one of the most incredible film schools you'll ever have. You know, that's where I got to know Keanu and all that. Cut 2 years later, after all that, Keanu and I had worked together for so long there. He knew I'd been doing a lot of second unit directing, which for people that don't know, it's the action, the fight scenes, the car chases, the sunsets, all the shit first unit doesn't want to deal with. Usually big action sequences, so they have these action directors or second unit guys go out and do the units, trying to do it more efficiently without the cast, with the stunt doubles and such. And Keanu had gotten this script that he thought was something interesting about it. It was called Scorn, and it was the original John Wick script.
How did it become called John Wick?
Derek Kolstad's grandfather's name is John Wick. Derek Kolstad being the writer of it, so he just gave tribute to his grandfather, called him Wick, John Wick.
Oh, wow.
Pretty trippy, yeah.
And so, how did that become the name of the movie?
Keanu, at the original script Scorn, the guy was like 65. He lived in a little brown. So it was very, very grounded script. I think only 2 people died in the original script. And it was like one in a car crash.
Hilarious.
Yeah, it was just very. It was very Cold War, old school. and that's where the gold coins came from because you didn't want to leave a paper trail. It had very simple little ideas.
Oh, wow.
And he handed it to myself and was like, hey, would you like to take a look at this? And I was like, sure. I read it and I was like, yeah, I don't know what to do with this action-wise. He only kills 2 people. It's like, well, we're trying to change it and we're thinking of this. I'm like, well, he's like, would you like to direct it? And I was like,
whoa.
Yes, as a matter of fact.
So you had no experience directing, and then you direct John Wick.
Yeah, just second unit. Yeah.
Dude.
Me and my partner at the time, Dave Leach, I called Dave. That was on a Friday. I called Dave on a Saturday going, hey, we might have a shot. We got to put a pitch together in 24 hours. So I always had this idea about Greek mythology and how we could layer it and do this. Like, I'm a big Tolkien fan. So how do you take a fantasy gig and make it modern day? So we're like, let's take it that way, and we'll put gods and Greeks and Sharon and the river Styx, and we'll make this whole Zeus thing going on. And we kind of layered it, and Keanu just heard it on Monday and went, interesting.